How exactly does Kinjaku swap bodies with his curse technique? Let's talk about it, but spoilers beware. We don't know. The short answer is we just don't know the nuance and specifics of how he is hopping bodies like this, and I wanted to get that out of the way at the jump. But with that out of the way, let's talk about what we do know. Okay, so to our knowledge, Kenjaku has done this 4 times. Probably way more than that, but just 4 different bodies that we get to see. But we don't ever get to see him actually make the jump. So because of that, Yuta is the best example we have, and in his case, we know that Shoko definitely helped him with this process. But to what extent she helped, we have no idea. All we got to see was Yuta say that he was ready, and Shoko say that she had finished preparations on Gojo's body. But that could have just meant that she had stitched him back up after being bisected, right? Did Shoko literally perform a brain transplant, or was she just there to oversee things and make sure that both bodies were as healthy as they could be, since both of them had taken grievous injuries? I would say that the implication seemed to be that Shoko did the heavy lifting, as in she literally performed a brain transplant. But if that's the case, who helped Kinjaku do this 4 or 5 or however many times in his life, right? And sure, he was a very charismatic and manipulative guy when he needed to be, so I'm sure he could have convinced people to help him with this process. But the interesting thing you got to think of here is that brain transplants don't even exist in the real world in the modern day, right? We could say that maybe they do within the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and so yeah, you've got Shoko, a modern doctor, there to help. But Kinjaku's over 1,000 years old. You know, what kind of doctor was he finding back in the Heian era to perform a brain transplant? So it might be the case that Kinjaku can just do this by himself, but in Yuta's case, since it was his first time ever using the technique, he didn't know how to do that, and so it was good that Shoko was there to maybe help or, again, literally perform the transplant. At the very least, we know that Kinjaku's brain has a mouth and that it's perfectly fine being exposed to the open air like this. So maybe a part of his technique is the fact that his brain can kind of hop out of a body, maybe it's got some little tendrils or something, and can move around for short periods of time or something. So maybe as long as Kinjaku preps the other body and his own, then he can just by himself jump out of one body and crawl on over to another. You know, maybe he's like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something. So again, the short answer is we just don't know because we don't have enough information. But big shout out to Big Bunger, an incredible name by the way, for asking me about this.